Hey, GenderqueerChat. So, it's Tuesday. Yay! I'm Andria, and I'm going to be answering this week's topic. I think I'm like first this week because Matt's got some difficulty with neighbors and stuff. So, noisy neighbors. So I think the video will be up in like a day or two or something. That's what he said. So, yeah. I guess I could tackle it first. So, alrighty, I will find it from this list. On my glasses first. I think this video will work this week without stuttering because my computer works again, so that's a good thing. Alright, so the topic this week is gendered terms of endearment. How do you deal with affectionate or pet names and or compliments that may have a gendered connotation, and which do you prefer? Cool. Okay, so I think that's a great question. Sorry. Yeah, that's a great question. I don't really deal with a lot of pet names, you know, and by pet names I assume we're talking about like sweetheart and like I don't know, whatever other like ridiculous things a person might come up with, usually in the context of a relationship. So I think that you know, it's hard for me to answer this question because I'm not really in the kind of relationship or contexts, like you know, how those kind of situations in my life where I would find people calling me by pet names. I guess I have before, and I do prefer, I guess if I preferred ones, like I liked it, what, I don't know, I don't want to talk about it. They're just kind of weird to me, I guess, these pet names. Like how I felt back then isn't necessarily reflective of how I would feel now. And I think for the most part, I can be kind of businessy in my interactions with most of the people in my life. Not necessarily with friends, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like there's just no context for that to be used, like sweetheart or something like that, and it just would be really weird to me. If I may, I think I'll expand the topic a little bit to cover kind of more broadly gendered language that I do come across, and that would be stuff like hun and dude and sir. So, I mean, I know that's not quite the topic, so I'm like purposefully expanding the topic out a little more here. With that stuff, I would prefer I don't know how to say it without gendering it, but like I don't like these traditionally male associated pronouns, if you will. I don't like being sirdude or whatever else that goes along with that, those kind of things. Dude, I don't so much mind. My dad actually uses that sometimes, which is kind of funny. He's not exactly, like, I think that gives the wrong impression of him, but he'll use that sometimes, and that's a little weird, but it's fine, you know, I'm okay with that one. So, I don't know, that's about as close to pet names as I get, and then some people will say hun because that's like part of their vocabulary, you know, they call everybody hun, you know, it's like, oh hey hun, you know, have a nice day and stuff, and that's really cool, I like that too. Yeah, so I don't know, there's not much that I can say on it except that I don't really like heavily gendered language to start with, like sir really bothers me, but yeah, I don't know, pet names are cool, I guess, if you want to use them. Not necessarily on me, because I just think it's awkward and strange, unless there were a context, like a relationship. I know some people probably use that, and that's totally fine. So I just feel like my personal take on this is basically that it doesn't really happen to me, and if it did, I guess I would prefer the ones that are more feminine or something. but I mostly don't feel like any of those really make sense. I guess I'm kind of butch in a way, and I just feel like it doesn't make sense, you know. Like, why would I use those, you know? Anyway, I guess one other thing is like, as it relates to like compliments and stuff, which is actually part of the question, I think. I've gotten compliments before, like handsome and stuff like that, which usually comes from my mom, and that's a whole different dynamic. But I usually feel weird about that, but like a compliment's a compliment, and I try to appreciate it and accept it, you know, for what it is, and like appreciate where a person is coming from when they're saying something. Like how when a person says "sir," they're probably not being an asshole about it. It's probably fine. You know, I just know that I get upset sometimes by that kind of language, because of its gendered connotations. But I think it's a very important thing to respect, you know, where a person's coming from, their kind of intent with whatever language they're using. So yeah. Yeah, so I've gotten handsome before, and I think it's a little weird, but I can kind of appreciate it. I do feel like that kind of fundamentally misunderstands my identity, because the people that use that kind of language are, I think, kind of operating under the idea that that I'm some kind of man or something, and that can be a little disruptive and annoying to me, because it's something like that usually goes along with them perceiving that, oh, I must not be validated enough in my masculinity or something like that, and that's kind of a different thing where I would get particularly upset over that. But those are like extremes, and they don't really happen that often, but you know, I think that's fair to put out there, because that's kind of my most extreme experience of that, I suppose. Usually though, life's just life, and I won't necessarily receive any comments in a particularly gendered way, you know. Sometimes people have said things like really nice compliments on my appearance and stuff, which people would attribute more to the feminine, and I can appreciate that. I think that's really nice. So yeah, I guess I've probably made this a really long and yeah, excessively long sort of video, but yeah, I guess my feelings on gendered kind of pet names and language and such is that I would prefer the feminine, although, if you will, but and I can be a little bit averse to the masculine, but not really. I don't really care that much. It is what it is, and connecting it to the heart, if you will, is much more important to me than the specific language being used. So yep, that's about it. All right. I guess I'll just end it there. All right. Have a great week, everybody.